can imagine I have 7 different shirts. You know.
She
Might be one of the ones because I only have.
What are these latecomers? Come on, Tim.
Go ahead. I think we're ready to go, Dick, when you're ready.
Okay.
Yep.
Roll call, Rick,
Yep, thanks.
Yeah.
Chris Elridge.
You might. Yeah, he does. That's a real word.
I see him twice. I don't see his picture.
I'm virtually present.
Virtually present, perfect. Tim Kiernan, not here. Darlin is here.
Here.
Parker,
Here.
Dick is here. Nick, we're missing Nick and Tim. Okay. All right, first item on the agenda is approval of minutes for the last meeting.
I'll make a motion. We approve the minutes.
I'm sorry.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Public input. Do we have any public input?
We have received one public comment
Eric.
from Marianne McCauley.
Okay.
Hole 13 tee box, 2 to 3 steps up with a handrail would be nice. Hole 15, nice slope cuts for those who cannot make it to the green. I gladly scale down, but have seen some do it that should not. Liability. Stairway with a handrail midway would be great. Course looks very good. Great job. What a gem.
So the women's forward tee is on 13. She wants steps up and handrails.
Boy, that'd be a great target from the back tees. I know one guy in our group that would hit them all the time.
Yeah.
In fact, he hits the slope of the tee.
It is quite a slope there, isn't it?
Yep.
Jordan, any input on that?
Jordan, you're on mute.
You're mute.
Take yourself off mute.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, the idea of steps isn't a bad idea at all, but the handrail, to your point, it's right in front of the men's tee, so it would be a bit of a safety issue. Steps shouldn't be an issue, though, I don't think. It is a little steep from that one angle. So, yeah, something to look at.
Would you use railroad ties?
Yeah, we could. Railroad ties would be fine, just like 2 or 3 of them. We could do that. And then we have some, I don't know what you call it, but that kind of green mesh or whatever, so it doesn't slip. We have some of that up in the shop too that we can use. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we could do that fairly easily. For sure.
You know, if we did that for the forward tees, would we want to at least think about doing it for the back tee box as well?
Is that a problem?
I don't know. I'm usually coming up from behind the restrooms, but it was just a question you put out there. I don't know.
No, I play quite a bit. I've never heard of any issues. I don't think it's a concern.
The reason we took it out, Parker, was because it was a liability. People were slipping and sliding on the thing, and they had a mesh on it at one time. You remember, Rick?
Yeah.
And it kind of wore out, and people were slipping and sliding. There was a liability issue. So rather than even fixing them, they just took the whole thing out.
And we actually had a rail on that.
Are we going to end up with the same problem then on the forward tees?
Yeah.
Eventually.
And if the point is it's a liability, she's saying right now, then if we don't put the rail on, then are we going to end up with even a bigger liability by having steps and no rail?
Well, the whole course is a liability. It's not exactly flat.
Right.
Yeah.
Can they park left of the tee box? Is there enough room up there?
It's on the side of the hill.
Yeah, I'm okay with them parking up there. That's fine. It's easier to walk down left of the tee box.
So can I make a suggestion that we meet them maybe at the golf course next week sometime and look at it, review it at the course?
Yep.
She's,
cool.
she's president of the women's club.
Yeah, no problem with me.
Okay. I'll set that up. Okay, any other public comments? Miley?
There are no other public comments.
Okay. What do we move to next here? This, okay.
Whole business.
Old business.
What?
Whole business.
Yeah. Old business. What do we have for old business? There's nothing listed. Samantha, Miley, we don't have
Yeah,
any old business?
No, there's no old business. Everything's on new business this time.
Okay. So take up new business, which is the update of the golf fees and operating policy resolutions.
Yep.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I'll give a brief presentation or kind of an overview. I know that this is really our big item, and I heard from a couple committee members regarding it. So this is part of our work plan, the golf committee work plan that council approved. These are really, it's a decent chunk of it. It's our operating resolution as well as our fee resolution. And the staff report has a lot of detail in it. You could see staff did some due diligence on surveying local public courses, all Orange County public courses, and we gathered a couple of others in San Diego County that were municipal courses as well. So based on what we saw, and I know that there's certain courses that we tend to consider our competition, if you will, and those are all listed in there. But based on what we're seeing is we know outright that our fees are very low, and this committee did recommend a fee increase of $2 July 1st of this year, and then $1 next year, so a total of $3. That fee increase did not get enacted because it didn't go to council because of COVID. So the staff recommendation on that level is to do an 8% increase across the board on those fees. That's essentially $3, which is where the committee would have gotten to. That still puts us pretty under. It's competitive, but it's pretty inexpensive still, which is fine. And so that's one thing. And then the staff report goes into a lot of other detail from a fee structure. Right now, we have not updated our fees in a number of years. And I think that there's a much cleaner way to manage our fees, given through our 4UP software use. There's a little bit more of a streamlined opportunity to kind of put people in certain categories. So we're looking at a muni membership card, some rates, and then some of the operating resolutions. I'll look to you, Dick, if there's some direction. Do you want me to go into more detail on that, or just throw questions out there? I don't know the best way to bite it all off here.
Well, I have in front of me attachment 2. Is that the
Okay.
main one? Can we take it page by page? Is that okay for everybody?
So yes, attachment 2 is the operating resolution.
Are we going to do the operating resolution, or should we just be going through the staff recommendations?
I have changes for the resolution. Anybody have any changes besides me? No?
Changes.
Well, but the resolution includes the changes that we're going to be talking about with rates. Is that correct?
They do go hand in hand. They kind of speak to each other. So I think while we probably won't be able to close one and then go to the next, I think there's going to have to be some crossover in our conversation with it. But to your point, Dick, if you want to look right now at the operating resolution and peel off some things that we feel like we can amend, make recommendation for there, and then jump back to fees or jump back and forth, that might be a fine way to do it as well.
I guess I'm lost. Let me see this. My pictures, my camera's gone. Can you see me?
Yes, we can't see you. We hear you.
I know it. I must have hit it. There you go.
There it is.
What'd you want?
Okay, I just have so nobody else here has comments except me on resolution 1542. So do you have it in front of you, Samantha and what, Miley?
15.
Yes, this is the operating resolution, correct?
Okay.
Yes, that's correct. So on
Okay,
the first
yes.
page, on the first page under tournaments, part C, golf tournaments requested by anyone other than the San Clemente Men's Boys and Girls Club of the South Coast area will be limited to 24 players, a maximum of 80 players. So if you go on to the page 3 under shotgun tournaments, you'll see that it requires 144 players. You see that 3 lines down?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, the other people besides the Boys and Girls Club that gets the tournaments is the Family Assistance Ministries, the Beaches and Parks Foundation tournament, and I think Little League still has it. I'm not sure. On page 2, it lists local club tee time reservations. It lists San Clemente Men's Golf Club, Ladies Club, Exchange Club, etc. It's fine, Tin Whistle, but it has Boys and Girls Club of the South Coast area. They don't run tournaments except the annual tournament, the first Friday of every year. So that should be taken off. They don't run regular tournaments. All right, going to page 3, it provide 144 players. Anybody who runs a golf tournament knows 144 players is maxing the golf course. Nobody is maxing the golf course in any of the tournaments that I've been a part of, from Boys and Girls Club to FAM. We've gotten close, 136 players, that type of thing. But to say it has to have at least 144 is wrong. I don't think it's fair. Your Beaches and Parks Foundation had 75 players last year. So legally, they shouldn't be allowed to have a golf tournament. But I don't think you want to exclude them, do you?
Well,
So-
I
and
don't think so.
in the face of the
wouldn't-
pandemic, not understanding what it's going to be like in the future anyway, I'm not sure that we want to put those kind of exclusions on there.
What I'm saying is, Darlene, is when I started the Beaches and Parks 10 years ago, the first 3 years we had 110, 120 players. Now this last year they've had 80 something.
Yeah, I hear.
So I'm just saying, I think the minimum should be 120 players or something more realistic.
And my suggestion would be, I don't even know that we need to, do we have to have a minimum amount of players in order, if they're already maxing, we should.
But it's not fair for the golf course to close, because you get a shotgun start, you're essentially closing the golf course for half a day. And
Right.
revenue-wise, it's not fair to the city if you have 80 players playing,
Okay,
for a benefit golf tournament.
so then if someone doesn't reach the number, they don't get to have their tournament.
They shouldn't have their tournament, yeah. So,
Oh, no, it shouldn't be a shotgun. They could still have a tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can say that, the Friends Foundation, that's in a separate agreement that we agree to allow them to have their tournament annually. So we would then be violating that agreement. So I think, to the point, maybe it's not a shotgun, maybe it's just a regular tournament. I'm not sure how that would pan out, but we're tied to that agreement as well.
okay.
Well, Dick, all you're saying is that we need to reduce the
Well, so what
144 down to
anyway-
a more manageable number.
What do you want to do about that? You want to change it, leave it? I think it's unrealistic.
I do too.
Yeah, I think we're all agreeing.
Yes.
So can we change that to 120? Does that sound right? Or 110 or something?
I support that.
I would go 110. I don't know that I even go up to 120.
Okay.
Vinny, Dave, what do you guys think? 110, 115, 20, what?
I mean, 120 is fine. I mean, 132 is a good number for us, but just to have it on paper with 132, 120, that's fine with us. And then, you know, it depends on carts too. If we're still at single rider carts, that's not 120 is not feasible. Maybe 90 is like the max, and that would be like a perfect scenario where nothing, you know, we didn't have any carts down or anything. So all this resolves around being able to put 2 people in a cart. Can we do that?
Yeah.
Right now, no.
Can we add that as can we add that to the resolution and say, if we're still in a 1 cart, then it's 90, but if we move to 2 people in a cart, then we can move it up?
I just think we're in a COVID thing. It's this year, maybe next year, and that's it. So by next June, the Boys and Girls Club and ours in August of next year, we should be fine.
That's pretty optimistic.
I know.
Well, I think what we need to do is look at this as if COVID doesn't exist right now, and we'll come up with something that is sustainable in the long term. And then, you know, as we've been doing with COVID, we're going to adapt. And unfortunately, this resolution, as it gets adopted right now, might not be in its full effect, but we'll adapt it as we need to.
If COVID wasn't a factor, I'd say 132.
For the minimum number?
I'd say that's the yes.
Really?
Guaranteed that will provide 144.
I mean, you know, because if we're at 124 at the last minute, it's not like we're not going to have the tournament. So I would just have it at 132 as a minimum, or a maximum 132, and then a minimum of for a shotgun, I'd say 110.
Vinny, how many people are in Sparky's tournament, and how many people participate in the ladies high school golf?
The ladies high school golf, they max out because they have coaches play. Well, there's another topic. The Rainbow Sandals is usually at 132. The last couple years, it's been pretty consistent of 132 to 136. Other than maybe the Friends of San Clemente was a little lower, maybe 110-ish. Yeah. Well,
How about 78, Vinny?
78 for a shotgun. That's
what they had
I'd say
last.
kind of a waste of the golf course.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
I think 120, 125, somewhere in that range.
We agree on 120?
120 sounds good to me.
Sure.
Yeah, put it down to 120.
Yep, 120. Okay, Samantha?
Do you want to include a maximum?
No.
No, but that's
If you had
140
100,
minimum max
you can't
yeah,
come
come
off.
up with
of 144.
minimum. A maximum, that's dictated on the time element. If it's in the summer, they could probably have 156, but in the winter,
We got to think about carts. So
Yeah.
144 max.
okay.
Yeah. It's 2 per hole. Even if we had the carts, any more means you're playing in like 6 hours sometimes.
Yep. Okay, the other thing I have is on page 6, on the resolution 1542, number 7, players shall rake sand traps after use and place rakes inside of the trap after use. What's the official word, Benny? Is it inside the trap or outside the trap for rakes?
There's golf courses that place them out, some place them in. That would be up to you. I'd say in.
You'd say what?
I agree, because you don't want to hit a rake outside the bunker and ricochet into the bunker.
Okay, just then we leave it.
Hit it inside the bunker, you've already hit a bad shot.
And the rules give you relief if you come up against the rake and the bunker, so that's helpful.
What's that if you come up against the rake in a bunker?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
The
really.
rules give you relief. You can
Yeah.
you
And
can
if
move the
ball
rake.
moves, it's replaced.
Okay. Anybody else? Any other comments on the resolution 1542?
Dick, if I may, really quickly, does the committee want to address any type of rain check policy? So right now, there's nothing specifically addressed in the operating resolution, and so
Rain,
for
we
a
get rain.
This
we
weekend.
need some, but
Well, you mean a rain redo?
yeah, do we want to say, they played 5 holes and all of a sudden it's just thunderstorms and lightning and they don't want to play anymore? Do we want to give them a partial credit to come back and play? Do we want to say it's too bad? Do we want to speak to that? Any
Good
thoughts
point.
on it?
How do you feel about that?
I would
Dave?
Yeah, I would prefer to have Vinny and Dave give input on that one, because at their discretion, they're going to make good decisions. It's a light miss, and it was a light miss when you started, and you play 14 holes and it's the same, and you want a refund, they have the discretion to make a decision.
Yeah, we
I
can
like
make,
that.
we can make, a gift certificate for them to play golf next time. If they teed off one and then we had to close the course and we say too bad, that leaves a bad taste in people's mouths. So, we can give rain checks at our discretion.
I like that. It should be controlled through the shop.
Yeah.
No policy.
Especially if you
I think
close the
we're-
course, you have to take them off the golf course. So
Right.
to say too bad and force them off the golf course that's a problem.
Yeah, I think we would be creating a problem to try to get it very specific in this document.
So what I will do is just say it's at the discretion of the pro shop, just so it's
Perfect.
formalized, so everybody
Yes.
knows that this is our
Yeah.
rain check policy.
It's fine.
You like that?
Perfect.
Okay, you got it. And then just a quick kind of a housekeeping thing, the reservation cancellation policy, right now we're at 24 hours prior. Do we want to do 48 still? It states 48.
I think
Are we good with
24 seems to be the norm with the other courses in the
Yeah.
area.
Okay.
48, that's too much time. 24,
Okay.
you don't know what's going to happen. And it's not like we have a problem getting the times filled.
Right. So we'll bump that down to 24. And then in the reservation policy, this is all on the first page as well. Right. We designate 6 starting times per hour. I think we've seen that we're operating kind of all over the place right now. And some folks really like the 10-minute tee times. We're going to work towards 9, but probably not go lower than 9. Do we want to be that specific in this policy, or again, leave it up to pro shop and golf course staff, or what is the committee's feelings on that?
I say leave it up to the golf course staff.
Okay.
I
They know
agree.
what the play's looking like out there.
Okay.
what they
All right.
I agree.
Agreed.
Okay. Very good. That's all the thoughts I had on that stuff.
Okay, what's our next thing to review then?
So we'll want to jump into the fee resolution, and some of this may speak back to the operating resolution, but it might not as well. I
So
think
is this
if you're,
attachment three then, is that what we're talking about?
let me check my, yes,
Agenda
attachment
item
3.
Okay.
So I'll work my way through the staff report too, so maybe pick it off that way. So the first kind of subject matter is this membership card or players card. And I know the committees have spoken a little bit about a players card or some kind of element to that. We came up with Muni membership because it's catchy and maybe marketable from that sense. The idea is that we know that the resident card is valued, and now we've actually seen a little bit of a bump in those purchase of the resident card because of the added benefit of getting a tee time 8 days in advance. So we've seen that jump a little bit. And so based off of that knowledge, I think there's merit in maybe expanding that. And again, this is all based on committee's feedback. We do have a lot of regular non-resident players who are frequent users of our course. They have been for decades. I'm sure many of you know who they are. And we've heard from them that they're disappointed that they can't get on the Muni anymore because it's really their neighborhood course. So in acknowledging that, I'd like to hear the committee's feedback on adding an element, making it no longer a resident player card, but a Muni membership card. And now there would be two fees to that. If you're a resident, you absolutely get a cheaper rate on that membership card. But if you're a non-resident, you're going to pay for that. And I will say this model aligns with many of our other fee structures within the city. You know, I'll use a parking permit. Your non-resident can get it, but it's a higher cost. It's double the cost. If you are a frequent swimmer at the beach club or the aquatic center, we have a swim pass option for residents and non-residents, but it's double the cost. So we know that those folks, we have great amenities in San Clemente, and the golf course is one of those. So non-residents often will come and utilize our facilities. So that was the idea behind the Muni membership card. I'm open to conversations about it. Again, it's very easy to implement in 4UP, and we can take it from there. I also would recommend we increase the membership card up to 60 is my recommendation. I know that many of the courses who have players cards, they're quite costly. And again, this is not an attempt to increase our prices for more money, but I want us to be on par with other courses in our competition. And I do want to say outright that any kind of fee increase that we implement, I want to ensure that it goes back to the course. It's not going to go back into some other city project. It's going to go back to course improvements always. So that's really the goal of this. And then also kind of meet the market with whether it's inflation or anything like that as well. So any thoughts on that element? And the Muni membership would have reservation things, all kind of those kind of benefits as well.
So I have a couple questions.
If we were to,
oh, go ahead. You can go.
I was just going to say, if we were to do a non-resident card, it would be my vote that we would not have 8-day advance for the non-resident and 8-day advance for the resident, that the residents with a resident card would have 1-day advantage in making tee times over people who don't live in the city of San Clemente.
I second that.
I would agree.
I agree.
And so a question that I had for you on the membership and the fees for it. I see that under rates, you're talking about a senior rate, but would you also have a senior resident card fee? Or would you make everyone's card fee the same and then they would just get the reduction in rates?
I think for simplicity, the card fee would be the same, but the rate, the green fee would be different for a senior.
So then the green fee would be different for a senior resident versus a senior
Correct.
Non-resident and card and a senior who just comes on who doesn't have either.
That's correct.
Okay.
So for instance, today, darling, I paid $20 to play, golf today for a senior resident. A senior non-resident pays 22. Is that correct? Correct, Denny?
31.
31. So
But close.
what's the 22 for? There's a 22 now, isn't there?
Twilight.
Oh, Twilight. Okay. So 31 versus 22. I get a $9 advantage for being a resident senior.
Right. Get that. I understand all that. I'm asking about now the non-resident card. Do non-resident seniors get a different rate, or are they going to get the resident rate?
No, they wouldn't get the resident rate.
So you're going to end up with a 3-rate structure for every.
Yeah, let me pull it up.
I think I misunderstood, Samantha. I thought basically the resident rate was going to become the Muni membership rate.
See, that's what I'm trying to clarify.
Yeah, I'm pulling up.
And I made one observation.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Chris Eldridge here. Initially, when I looked at this, I thought this would be a great idea to do a non-resident card and get preferential pricing. But when I look at it and see that we've got around 350 San Clemente residents who have paid for that card, and that gives them the benefits of that card, it reduces my appetite for a non-resident to be able to buy a card, and also the complexities of doing that and managing that and having the staff in the shop go through the process.
Yeah.
But that's only because we have 350, give or take, San Clemente residents who have now bought the card and are actively using it. And I think the reservation system is working far better. And that's probably driving the number of residents that have that card with the extra day to make a tee time.
How do you feel about it, Vinny?
The player's card wise?
It's another thing for you to do.
Well, Samantha and us talked the other day about trying to get all the rates condensed and take a few out to make it a little easier for us, because right now there's a lot of different rates, and if we added two, we'd want to get rid of a few. You know, because if you look on 4Up, if you had the access to it and you looked up all the rates, there's a laundry list of different rates that I'd just like to see what the addition of that would look like. You know, we'd want to, you know, maybe get rid of Super Twilight and do a 9-hole rate or something. So there's some different ways to, you know, cut some of the rates out. When you think about the player's card and them getting 8 days in advance, you're going from 1,200 resident cards to, you know, potentially doubling that of people that can get 8 days in advance. And now we're back to the problem of being able to book a tee time.
Great.
Sorry, Vinny, you said we have 1,200 resident cards out there each right now?
Usually right around there active. I mean, even if we took the year's worth, it's right around 1,200. I think we sold 365 maybe in the last 2 months or something.
Awesome.
And my numbers were off, but that reinforces my thoughts even more that we have so many city residents who are anxious to get a tee time and play the golf course that we probably don't need to do a lot of marketing to solicit business from outside of the city limits. The other thing that comes to mind is looking at the rates of comparable golf courses and how much lower we are on weekend in particular for non-residents. We're drawing a lot of traffic simply because of the rate. And we're $30 to $50 lower than a lot of the other options, including San Juan, which is probably our closest competition for South County golfers.
I have no issues either way. If you want to stick with just a resident membership card, there's no issues on the staff end with that. It was something we wanted to throw out there because it's something we see in other fee structures within the city, but I have no issues either way.
You know, I'll be honest. I've been kind of a fan of a players club type card for the last couple of years. It's something I've been kicking around. But given the current situation where virtually our tee times are sold out from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. every day of the week, I don't know that we need the additional draw. I mean, if we can just keep it, it's a course for the San Clemente residents, first and foremost. Let's boost up the resident card program and let that run its course.
The idea of the player's card is good because you get the outside play, but giving the 8 days, then you're condensing the tee time booking again. And the one thing you have to keep in mind too is when all the residents can book, you're going to get a lot more resident rates than outside rates. So I mean, you can go back and forth on that all day.
So I think, are we all in agreement, the membership card for non-residents, we don't really feel that's appropriate?
I would.
Not at this time.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but I would consider it again next fiscal year and take another look at it, depending on our situation.
Okay, but right now, I think, Samantha, you and the city are looking for us to promote a fee increase, right?
Yeah, I think the card needs to be increased in cost because they now have this added benefit of an additional 24 hours. And if you want to add more than 24 hours, that would be up to the committee to also make that recommendation at that time. So we do want to look at really the membership card package as a whole. What are those benefits attached to it?
Okay, let me ask
other than discounted rates.
Let me ask you, this is really a little complicated, a little bit more than most of us have really had time to think about. We've got the sheets. I can compare the sheets and everything too. But is this something we should move to table for another meeting? That in a shorter period of time, like a month, that
We've
we
been,
all meet again and just go over come up with new fees? Or do
I'm
you
happy
want to
to vote on it now.
So the staff recommendation is to increase the fee, I would say by $10 up to $60. And then we would also though be, again, this goes back to this 8% rate increase across the board. So an additional $3 to the tee time. That's the staff recommendation out there. Right now, the card is $50 per year.
Okay, just
effective when?
there's so many different rates, as Vinny says. So a resident weekday rate of $22 and a senior of 20. What is that going to change? 8%?
So, yeah. So a resident Muni member rate, which is $21 right now on the weekday, is going to go up to $23. And the weekend rate, correct.
And the resident weekend, which is 28 now, is going to go to 30?
No, it's going to go to 29. It's a little, that's the 8%. So it's not a flat dollar increase. And we're going to round up where we can.
Is that enough on the weekend rate?
Yeah.
And, with the demand that we have,
So what's the non-resident weekend rate?
8%.
No, not the increase.
$44.
48?
44.
44. And
So
what's
it's
that
going to go to
be?
40. It would go to 48.
48.
And I would recommend also, as an aside, we start calling that the standard rate, because we have some folks that are residents that play that don't have a resident card.
Right.
So, and that's probably going to be one of the recommendations as well. So I can continue. I did the math, and I can continue to run through all of it as you want, if that's helpful.
No, I'm just trying to get an idea between the $2 and the 8% and all this other stuff. So, okay.
But the two are separate, right? You want to talk about the Muni membership card and whether or not we want to go forward on, and we'll
Correct.
with the Muni, and then separately we'll talk about the rates.
Yes, we'll get there later. If we're going to focus on this membership card, which is for residents, it's a benefit. What are you comfortable with the 8% increase on existing fees for this resident player card? And then are you comfortable with a $10 increase to the annual fee for that card? Or do you want that to be lower or higher? I don't know.
I'm in agreement to the $10 increase in the card.
Anybody has a problem with that? Do you,
Yeah,
Park?
My only question is, is there anything else that we can bundle with that? Like a bucket of balls or something, or, I just think about other Players Club memberships that I have, and you get, a 50% off lunch or a coupon for the pro shop or something like that. Is there anything like that?
I would look to Dave or Vinny if that's something that they wanted to add into that benefit of the players card.
I think your $60 resident card is pretty cheap.
Pretty cheap. Yeah.
Yeah, because it only takes 4 times to get your money back, and to add to that, I think is just a little unnecessary. Now, if that card was $150, $200, something like that, then you can start talking about stuff like that. But it's for $60 over a year. How much potential savings can a person have who plays 3 times a week?
And when will we make this effective? If we were to agree that we want to go to $60, it would be at your next renewal, or
July 1st or what?
So it would so timing wise, and this is going to go for everything, whatever we take here tonight, staff have to take to council for approval. I most likely would not land that to council until the second meeting in December of this year. And because they're resolutions, they have to have a second reading, which is 30 days. So we're looking, the earliest we could do anything into effect would be February 1st of 2021. And I would recommend that, we're not gonna, if you have a resident card right now, we're not gonna make you pay an extra $10. It would be at your renewal. that you would pay that increased fee.
Okay.
Okay, is this an action item? Do we need a motion for this?
I don't, it depends on how you want to run it. If you want to compile, yes, why don't you go ahead and we'll bite it off like that. Take an action and a motion on the player card.
Motion for a $10 increase on the resident card.
And that we only have a resident card, that we do not do a non-resident card.
Right.
Yes.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Vote. Okay, there you go, Samantha.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
So the next component to this is the rates, and I'll go through just in chronological order here based off the staff report. We've talked about the increased fee total across the board, 8%. Is that still something the committee would like to do? So this would be speaking to the standard of the non-resident rate, somebody who doesn't have a player's card. This is an 8% increase on that. It's also an 8% increase on existing Twilight rates, and an 8% increase on the senior rate as well.
And what is the current senior rate?
$31 for weekday, and there is no discount on the weekends.
Oh, okay, so then a resident would get the resident rate rather than the senior rate if they were a senior plus a resident. Just
Yes.
check. Okay.
Well, I don't think this increase is out of line. I'm
I
in
agree.
agreement for it.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Okay. So we'll take that as an 8% increase across the board on the existing rates that are there. And as you see, as we'll move through this, we're gonna throw in some different options, but I have all those numbers as well. The next recommendation, or the ask, is to look at implementing a resident rate. Somebody who doesn't have a player's card, because maybe they're not frequent players, but they golf 1 or 2 times a year, but they are resident. Does the committee believe that those players or resident golfers are to be afforded a discount on their 1 or 2 time green fee? So again, this aligns with some other fee structures that we have, that if maybe you're not an avid swimmer, but you like to hop into the pool once or twice a year, you're a resident, you get to pay the $2 instead of the $6 because you're a resident.
You're
My
adding a lot more headache for the golf shop. You're trying to keep track of
So
it.
this is all managed through 4UP. So all they have to do, and when you go in as a golfer, when you log onto your account, or the pro shops at the computer, they just have to say, I'm a resident, and they click the resident button, and the rate's automatic. So it's not having to look at a chart and let me make sure I give you the right rate. The recommendation from staff's end is to look at a resident discount that is 20% off of your standard rate. Now keep in mind, your player's card, your card holders get 40% off of a standard rate. So you're looking at a resident's going to get just 20% off.
So can we do an example? So as a resident, my fee is going to go from 28 to 29 on the weekends. Non-resident's going to go from 44 to 48. So what is a resident rate for the weekend?
38.
38.
That's without a card, but they're a resident and they can prove that. A weekday rate would be 31.
And how will they provide proof of primary residency through the app?
That would be, yeah, the driver's license or utility bill, whatever is currently required for a player's card as well. We do at the Aquatic Center, we accept a driver's license as proper form.
Vinny, do you guys like this idea?
If it's easy to implement on the computer, the way I'm see it is there's going to be an extra rate on the computer to scroll down and pick from. That's being said, you know, if they have username, password, and they have an account, all we have to do is click their name, and that rate will pop up. But that doesn't happen all the time. Like if they walked in to the pro shop without a tee time, we're getting them out. We kind of have to program it in. So,
And wouldn't we want to be encouraging people to, and I get that they're only playing twice a year, but wouldn't we want to get our Muni membership card? I mean, it's to our advantage and it's to their advantage to pay the cheaper, to get the cheaper rate. So why not just get the card? So.
good point. Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
Vinny,
I like
Vinny,
guiding.
how many people do you have come in that say I'm a resident? Can I get a can I play and can I get a discount?
Ever since we did the pay in advance on the Civic Rec, people got accustomed to getting that resident rate automatically. So lately it's been more than before COVID. So there's a few. There's, I wouldn't say a lot, but there's enough.
Okay.
But then you just encourage to buy the resident card.
Right.
Yeah, I like.
My vote would be a resident card or the standard rate.
Yep.
I'm with you.
I agree. Keep it simple.
Yep. I agree.
And then change it to not a non-resident rate, but the standard rate. Change the name of it.
Yep.
Yeah, but the non-resident, that sounds kind of like alien or something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think standard rate and then resident rate would be.
Well, and it's interesting, but it should actually not even be resident rate, but it should be Muni card rate, right? Because those people have to.
Yeah, there you go. Yes.
Yep.
Card. And if we say resident rate, then they think they're going to get it just by saying that they're a resident.
Good
So
Correct.
Yeah.
And the other clubs are training them to do that with the club cards that they're selling at other clubs.
right.
So the next thing then would be to address the membership card or the player's card. The recommendation is to take it to, based on whatever that standard rate is, your membership card is going to be about a 40% discount. So whatever we land on, now we've talked about, we're increasing the rate. The standard rate is going to go to $39 for weekday play and $48 on the weekends. If you get a 40% discount holding that player's card, that's going to be across all your rates. That's really just to simplify the rate structure because it's a little inconsistent. Sometimes it's 35. It's a little all over the place. That's more of just a cleanup. That's a recommendation to streamline it a little bit.
I have no problem with that.
Vinny, would it help things at all to go to round numbers? I keep hearing 47, 48, and 28, and 41. Is it more helpful to have it be $40 or $50 or a round number or no?
Yeah, it would. But I mean, if you guys are okay with that. But again, a lot of people more are paying with credit cards. So
Yeah.
Doesn't make either one.
I love that you guys have my card on account. It's so nice. Go in. It's like it's charged. I don't even have to bring my wallet in.
It's like the country club.
yeah.
It is. I'm a
You
member.
don't know that I've been getting a 10% tip every time you come in, Parker.
Well, Samantha, are you looking for approval for a 35 or 40% discount?
No, as long as you're comfortable. My recommendation is going to be 40%. And what I'll do is through the council action, I will send out, there'll be a kind of a total fee set up with dollar values presented. And it's, as we get through this meeting, maybe that's something I'm happy to sit down with the House subcommittee on this too, to kind of present it in full if that's helpful after our discussions before it goes to council, if that would be helpful also.
Okay.
At least put it out in an email to us so we can individually.
Absolutely. Yeah, you bet. So the next topic, number 4, is Super Twilight. We don't address this in our fee resolution. We do have an option for it. I think it was something most likely was implemented by golf course staff, which is within their jurisdiction to do so. The recommendation for Super Twilight is to actually take away the early back nine play rate and the Super Twilight and collapse it into one and call it a 9-hole rate. I did speak with Dave and Vinny about this, and they can speak to it as well. Again, that streamlines our fees, so now we don't have two separate things. If the committee's okay with that, that would be the
Yeah, I
staff
like it already.
Okay. We'll call it a 9-hole rate.
Yeah,
Exactly. Perfect.
Perfect.
Okay. Then the junior play, this is a little all over the place right now. We have the juniors card, and Vinny, do you want to talk a little bit about how the junior card works right now and what that looks like operationally?
Yeah. Back when I was a kid, you'd have to buy this card to get the local junior rate and be able to play by yourself. That being said, after a while of kids usually being with a parent or whatever, we really stopped selling the card so much as we just sold it to the middle school class, just to make sure, because they were going to be out on their own pretty much, to make sure that they were getting a little instruction of know what they're doing when they get out on the course. But really all we were really selling was maybe 20 something a year. So it really didn't become much of a factor anymore, because we have a junior rate of the resident of basically half whatever the green fee is the junior rate now. So the card kind of became obsolete.
So the staff recommendation, and right now it's juniors are half price of their paid accompanying adult every day, rounded to the nearest dollar. My recommendation would be to implement a juniors rate, if you will. And I would go 60% off, because I think we want juniors on the course. We need that. We need them to play. So for dollar value, right now, if they're paying $22 on the weekend, and that's just the standard rate, that's not somebody who has a resident card, they would pay $19 on the weekend. If they pay right now $18 on the weekday, it would actually just pay $16 on the weekday. So there's a little bit of a decrease in that. But I'm happy to hear what the committee thinks of that. The goal was, though, to get youth out there and make it something that was encouraging. We saw that in our comparison of other courses, that junior rates were significantly less typically. And then that would be applied as well to the 9-hole rate and the Twilight rate.
So
What's the junior? Is that 17?
Of like a resident rate, for instance, a resident rate of $48, for instance, on the weekend, the non-resident rate. So if somebody brought their kid, what it would be 60% of that, less of that, or 40%, or like $20 for the kid? Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't know. So right now, the way it stands is if you come as a resident card holder, you get half of what your green fee is. I would recommend that we just say there's a flat junior rate across the board, that it's not half off of whatever who's there. That's easier for the pro shop to manage.
Yeah, I like it.
That's a great idea, Samantha. That's one less rate we have to worry about.
Single rate.
Correct.
For kids, it's no big deal. It's not like we're getting, 50 kids a day. It's just a couple. So if there was one flat rate for them.
What's a good agreeable flat rate for the junior golf for 18, let's say?
Mm-hmm.
Or as many holes as you can play.
Wasn't it $10?
It was 50%. So it was either $18 or $22. 18. Well, and if you have a resident player's card, it would have been 11 and 14.
What about $15 for a junior golf?
No matter when they come, and no matter whether they're resident or non-resident.
Yeah.
And that's between the ages of 12 and 17.
Yeah. Yep. To be monitored by the shop, at their discretion. I mean, we don't need 22 juniors being bussed down here from Compton or something.
You think golfers are?
Do you want to have a separate weekend rate for junior play?
Yes. with Saturday morning and the demand that we have, and I have two daughters that play and played. I would want to bring them out in the afternoon. I wouldn't bring them out first thing, unless they became really competitive golfers, first thing in the morning on a Saturday. Vinny, what's your thought? Do we have some juniors that play early, and if so, do they play in a timely fashion?
You could, right, the way it is now on the weekend, usually the kids, if they're, the resident is 14, and on the weekday it's 11. So there's not much difference there. If you made it a flat rate of, let's say, $15 weekend or weekday, I mean, you're kind of just meeting in the middle there.
Yeah, a few of them go off with their dad, on the back side. They're only playing 9.
Okay, if they're keeping pace, then great, and it sounds like it works for Vinny.
So
I'm fine with a single rate.
is everybody okay with a $15 rate straight across the board, right?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
There's one more rate off the board to where down the road, if you wanted to do a players club card for non-residents, that would make it a little easier down, when we're not in such high demand. So leaves it open for that. My whole goal would be to try to get a few rates out of that computer. And we're leaning towards that with a couple of these things. So that's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. The next item is the senior punch card. This is something that I don't know how many we have specifically. Vinny might know, but the recommendation is to eliminate that and just allow them to use the senior discount. Now, this was a staff recommendation had the committee wanted to go with a non-resident frequent player option, but I know we didn't go that direction. So the punch card's a little difficult to manage and track, but.
How popular of an item is that? How many are we selling?
It's decent. But again, I don't know how the city can track the round usage on it because it sells for $250 and then we punch it. I don't know what it looks like on the books of how they track. Now it's a little easier with the computer, but as before, I'm not sure how they track the punch.
They expire technically in 3 months. Too.
As soon as you buy it, it expires in 3 months, and we have plenty of them left. I'd say we maybe sell in a given week 3 to 4 of them in a given week.
And they cost $250. And
yes.
How many rounds do you get?
10. You save $6 a round.
But those are weekday rounds.
Yes.
They're not good on the weekends.
Not good on the weekends.
And we're obviously selling them to non-residents.
Yep.
Yes. And we do have plenty of them left.
I mean, you could bump that up, and that could be the low perkers.
Okay, so what do we want to do? You want to leave it the way it is?
I don't like the idea of a punch card. We're going to an automated system, and then we've got this one thing that is a manual punch card system. So unless we find a way to give them a discount and let them just say that they're over 60 and they get a discount off of the standard rate, maybe that's the better way to go since they're non-residents anyway. It's not like residents are getting any discount from these. So since maybe we have a senior discount that goes on top of it.
Vinny, are you okay? You and Dave okay with doing away with the punch card?
Yeah, yes. It's one less thing to have to manage.
Right.
Keep it simple. Yeah. We all agree?
I do, yeah.
Should we put the senior rate, or should we not even bother with the senior rate?
Eliminate it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Samantha?
Yes, that works. Okay, the next item is the advanced reservation booking fee. This is something that we're seeing that some other courses are doing. It's really intended to be something that, you know, if you're traveling into town, or maybe it's your birthday and you really want to golf on your birthday, but it's hard to get tee times. We would look to have an advanced booking fee that would be probably $18 to do that. And you could book 15 days in advance, potentially. Some courses do 30 days. I don't know. I'm willing to hear out the committee's thoughts on this. And I don't know how frequently people will take advantage of it, but we have gotten some folks who just really want to reserve certain dates. So I'm bringing this forward as something we've seen at other courses.
I have a question on that. If they did book in advance, would they have to pay in advance for it?
That's
We could implement that.
Yeah, that's what we had. To
that might be just
absolutely.
That might be a good idea, because
Yeah.
if you book a month in advance, I'm likely to maybe forget about that, but you don't forget if you paid for it.
Exactly. And when we pay Coronado, you have to pay the fee in advance, and you lose it if you don't go to your tee time. I mean, you've already paid it.
I would say we also need to limit the number of these we do, so that we don't have people taking up blocks of 10 tee times 30 days in advance on a Saturday morning.
I would make them more than 8. I'd make it really expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this one kind of worries me with
Me too. It's somebody's birthday every day.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Do I get a
not
free round?
terribly comfortable.
Yeah, we get that a lot.
$18 for a booking means you get 4 players. It's $4.20, 25 cents a player, right?
I think you're thinking of was it per person?
It says per booking.
Oh,
Booking for
Should be
4
per
players.
person.
That's
What
Yeah,
fee?
it would be
$10
per
per person.
booking. So if you're booking a foursome, it's 18 times 4.
Okay, all right.
okay.
I'd be okay.
make it $100.
I worry about this devaluing our membership card, though, with people, you know, as somebody said, there's birthdays every day. There, all the good times on Saturdays are difficult to get as it is right now, and this is going to make them even tougher.
Well, you know, if we had a restriction, then it's only good on weekends or weekdays instead of weekends. They want to book it.
From the standpoint of encouraging people to come into the city and use our businesses and come to our golf course, and being able to get a tee time in advance if they're going to visit, I think it's really healthy to have the ability for someone to pay extra for that benefit.
I do too, on the weekdays.
Yeah, but
It just might get out of hand before you.
I mean, you're not going to get the same thing. I mean, maybe we raise it a little bit. You make it $25. I don't know. I mean, but I think the benefit, if I want to pay because I want to make sure I've got a tee time because I'm visiting in that area, I think it's so worth it.
Yep. What would the cancellation policy be on? Like 24 hours?
It could be no, well, you know, once it's booked, there's no refunds.
Yeah. No.
Right. That's our money.
That would actually restrict the automatic booking of it, because that might get out of hand quickly if the 30 days, like let's just say for me or Dave, and we knew we could get out of it, we could book 4 tee times for me and for him 30 days in advance, you know, sell it to people or you know, whatever. And all of a sudden 30 days out, we're fully booked on a Saturday with a little price increase and the being scared about getting stuck with the bill. I think you would see a few, but not a lot. And that's kind of, that would be the goal. It would just be, you have to think about it getting out of hand without the high price or the, once you pay for it, you're locked in. That would keep that down a little bit. That would, you know.
Yeah, this is a business for Torrey Pine South, and there are people who make good money buying and reselling tee times, and yeah, it would have to be a scenario like Vinny describes where it's not possible to resell it. Either you show up with your credit card or, but once they've paid for it, I guess they have that tee time. So I'm concerned about this one. I'm not terribly comfortable with it, but I'll support the group.
I think it's a good marketing idea for when we need marketing.
It can be put
Yeah,
on
let's
hold.
review
I mean,
this
this,
Yeah, I mean, it's a great idea, but it's like, do we really need it right now? And
I'm thinking no.
if they really wanted to do it, they'd pay good money for it. It's just, you could see kind of when we did the resident card 8 days in advance, the first week was pretty normal, almost back to normal booking. And then as soon as more residence cards came in, then it was almost back to, it was, 10 seconds after 6 a.m., everything was booked. So you definitely don't want that to happen. Well, the rates, you'd be making more money, but no one could get a tee time 30 days in advance.
So on average, how easy is it for someone non-resident to actually get a tee time with us?
It's not easy right now. And that's
right.
The reason why Samantha brought up the players card thing is people, non-residents would equate right now to it's a country club for residents.
Right.
Not that it's, necessarily true, but it's trending to that point because, again, golf is in such high demand right now that I don't think there is any easy solution to this, problem. We have way too many players that want to play and not enough tee times. And even if we went back to normal tee times, we still wouldn't have enough tee times to satisfy the demand right now.
Well, and other clubs are also have full tee sheets in the area as well, and most of them have raised their rates and far more than what we're talking about. I think one just raised it $5 across the board.
That's why it's no problem raising the rate. It's just for the non-residents who are used to getting the tee times, they're not happy, and that's why that players card is a suggestion. But again, I mean, it might help some people, but then it might hurt some residents. So what's the answer?
All I can tell you is that when Ole deeded over the course for $1, it was for the residents of San Clemente, same as the beach club, for the residents of San Clemente, not for somebody to drive down from Fullerton to play the course, for the residents.
But things change. We're not in Ole's time, right? And so we may have expected the course to be, sometimes you have to change. I mean.
And why is that? Why do we have to change?
Because
because that's a good one.
I'm trying to explain. You need diversity, you need inclusion, you need people, you need to, otherwise all you have is the exact same people doing the exact same thing every single day.
Well, I don't do the same thing every day. I get to play Saturdays, but when I can get on.
I just think we have to look more long-term. That's our job, as to not only be looking for today and what pleases us, but instead what would be best for the city of San Clemente, what would be best.
Okay, while we're on the subject, can we go, let's talk about the tee time system. So the way we have it right now, residents, for instance, I'll get up tomorrow morning and book a week from Saturday for my group. I'll never get a 7:30, 8 o'clock, 9:30 or anything. We used to take turns getting in our cars and going down and signing up. So we're not doing that anymore. Okay, so I can't get a tee time before till like 10:30, 11 o'clock if I'm lucky on a Saturday. I don't know where they all go so quick. I'm on at 6 o'clock on the dot. So are you, Rick? Aren't you? Yeah. Anyway, get rid of the dog, Rick. So my point is, when we had the old system where people could call in and people could go and sign up at the pro shop. I know it's COVID and all that, but people go into the pro shop all the time. Places packed all the time. Why can't we go back to the old way and everybody has a chance? If you live in Mission Viejo, you have a chance. You can come down and get a tee time just like you used to do it. And I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, go line up my car, and I get a tee time this week and the next week. We had 2 openings an hour for walk-ons. Whether you're a walk-on, you're an outsider, or you're a local. Those are great things for the golf course. Were they not?
I
Why
agree.
can't we go
Yeah.
back to that?
It was.
So the problem is that we don't have enough tee times. We have a massive amount of golfers now, and going to a phone-in system isn't going to change getting a tee time or not, or going to Pro Shop to line up. We still have a lot of golfers, and I know that, you know, we need more tee times essentially, or we need another golf course. That's the biggest
First come,
problem we're
first served,
seeing.
though, Samantha. If Rick doesn't go down, I get a spot. Whoever gets there gets the spot.
Right, and that's the way the online booking system works as well. It's first come, first serve.
It doesn't
No.
work. It doesn't
Too many
work.
glitching.
Have you ever tried to get a tee time on a Saturday morning?
I know they fill up. I can see them filling up. I've watched them at 6 a.m.
It's 6
I
o'clock
can
and
see
10
them.
seconds.
Try and get one tomorrow.
Yeah.
I know they fill up, but
Vinny,
it's
how
not
do you feel about the tee time system? Vinny, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
I don't see you. You're not in the picture.
I'm right here. Okay.
You want to go back, Vinny?
What's that?
You want to go back?
If we went back, we'd have the same problem of going phone, showing up. Let's say if we had a line of 10 people out the door and the phone was ringing, I was supposed to be taking one person at the door, going back to the phone, back and forth. That would take a lot of time. It's the demand right now is a lot more than it used to be when we were 6 months ago, when we could just take it over the phone and 2 people came into the shop. That's easy to manage. But let's say if we had 20 people at the door and the phone calls coming in, technically I'm supposed to go person at the door, back to the phone, back and forth. That's a hassle.
So you recommended not going back to the old way?
If we weren't as busy as we were, yeah, we'd go back. But going backwards would confuse a lot of people, you know.
Okay.
It's just not easy. It's not an easy answer right now.
Okay, so let's back off that and talk about the advanced reservation booking fee again. Is that a dead issue, or, Darlene, you want to have that? Is that correct?
Sorry, I put myself on mute. Yes, I do. I believe that we should provide an opportunity for other people to come to our golf course and charge them more for it and let them book in advance.
Okay. Parker?
Yeah, I feel like from a business perspective, our course is full as it is. We're selling out all the tee times currently. I personally would prefer to table this suggestion for another time, like a year or 6 months down the road, and see how the demand looks.
Okay. All right. You want to do, how do you feel about that? Would you be willing to table it for 6 months, Rick?
Yeah, I mean, it's a marketing situation and we don't need marketing right now. We've got more players than we've got availability.
Chris, how do you feel?
I support tabling it for 6 months as well.
Okay, me too. Okay. Okay, is that okay, Samantha?
Yeah, no issues there. No problem.
Great.
Okay, and I think we addressed the cancellation no-show policy. We're going to keep with 24 hours, and you're going to be charged if you're a no-show. So that will be written into the operating resolution. Are there any questions on that component? Okay. And then we also, I think we already addressed the juniors play element as well.
Yep.
Okay.
Can I, while you bring up the juniors, can I have one quick question? Vinny, do we have a etiquette class that?
Oh, he got muffled there a little bit. I think what I caught, that was part of the junior card purchases. They take a lesson and they learn a little bit about the etiquette and what they should do on the golf course, you know, do's and don'ts. That was part of the junior card sales.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Are we all set, Samantha, with that?
Yeah, I think we're ready to go.
Okay, great. Freestanding drinking fountain replacement options.
So, and Jordan can speak to this a little bit too as well. We've got a couple of drinking fountains out there on holes 9 and 5, and there's a photo in your guys' attachment. You're probably familiar with them. They were built many years ago. They are not in many ways compliant. They're also falling apart. So we see them as a safety hazard. And Jordan can certainly speak to that, but I guess at this point, staff are just looking for direction. Do we need to replace them? If we do replace them, they can't be the way they are. We would need to put in a more commercial use drinking fountain. We also need to do some work to the area in terms of the proper ADA, all of that, and things like that. So my question to the committee is, are these drinking fountains used by golfers? What we hear a lot of is maybe they're used by dog walkers and those types of folks. So Jordan, do you have anything else to add to that?
No, not really. You pretty much got everything.
The one on 15.
The only time I see golfers use it is really to wet their towels down to wipe their balls with. That's about it. But I mean, we have 5 or 6 areas on the golf course now where you can do that, like at a sink. So, yeah, I don't know how you guys feel about it. If we need to just demo them and sod it, get rid of them entirely, or if the committee, what's that?
That's my suggestion. I don't think we should have them at all anymore.
Yeah.
That's cheaper.
And
yeah, absolutely.
And I'll chime in. The one on 5, I've used it. I've drank out of it. I've refilled my water bottle out of it. I've seen people getting water for their dogs out of it. I would ask that the one on 5, we keep a water fountain there. Before the meeting, I went and looked at commercial water fountains. I was a little shocked to see that they can be $3,000 to $5,000. I don't like the idea of paying that kind of money to do it. But the one on 9, I wasn't aware it was there. I don't know how I've missed it, but I have not used the one on 9 at all.
Yeah, and I would.
When you use 9, if you don't use 9, you go to the clubhouse and back by the bathrooms. You fill up, that's where I fill up. So I don't use
agreed.
the one on 5. I don't use the one on 9. I use the one in the bathroom on 13, and I use 15. So is 15 okay? Is that one okay, Jordan?
Well, we have a water filling station on 16T now, so I don't feel the need for 15T anymore. Plus 13, we have a water fountain there too. So I think 15 kind of seems a little redundant.
I live up there, and that water fountain is used more for dogs than golfers. Like dogs literally drinking out of it.
Yeah, they all are.
Yeah, the dog jumping up there and drinking out of it, so that becomes obsolete.
Yeah.
Well, are we going to have some upset neighbors if we remove the one on 15?
Well, they have water at their house. So.
They shouldn't be bringing their dog to the course.
Exactly.
That's our problem.
Yeah.
So which ones do you want to take out? 5, 9, and 15?
Yes.
Yeah.
And my vote would be to either leave the one in at 5 or replace it with a modern fountain.
Yeah, I would second that. It's furthest away from the clubhouse.
Yeah.
Something along the lines of 16T with a water filling situation, so you could have dual.
Yeah, I like that water station on 16. That's pretty cool. I did have to kind of point it out to my playing partners last week. Once they saw it, everybody was all over it.
I don't even know where it is. Where is it? On the blue tees?
It's
attached
to
the bathroom.
On the
Stop
bathroom?
and check it out on your way to the white next time.
I go nonstop. Yeah. Okay. All right. So what is the motion then to demolish the ones on 9 and 15?
17. There's one as well.
Retain and rebuild the one on number 5. Is that correct?
Why are we doing that? Why are we doing the 1 on 5? Why are we having it at all? That's
Because many of us use it,
Some people use it.
and many of the residents use it as well.
Yeah.
I think it's a point that's far from the clubhouse.
Yeah. Okay. Is that acceptable to everybody? Darlene, you want to get rid of that one too?
well, I want to find out where are the ones that we're retaining. We would retain 5. There's currently one on 13. There's one on 16.
Yep.
And that's it.
And what about the clubhouse?
One on
Back to the bathroom. Yep. That's 4.
So we would
Jordan, are there any others, Jordan?
Yeah, there's one on 17 that we would get rid of as well, I believe.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah. Right by the cart path.
I forgot about
Yeah.
that. I never used that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Jordan, you mentioned one thing we do use those for is to wet our towels to clean our equipment, because the ball washing stations are still closed. Do we?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's new business or whatnot, but do we have any sense as to when we may be opening those up again?
Not at this moment. Every golf course I played at, they've removed theirs entirely, and I think they're not coming back, to be honest. I think they're kind of going the way of the dodo bird right now, because most golfers bring their own towels. I know I do, and whenever I'm on the green, I place my ball, I clean it with that towel, and like I clean it 18 times a round. So me personally, I don't miss them as a player. So I don't know how you guys feel. If we could have some kind of yeah, we have enough stations like with bathrooms and water fountains now to kind of wet our towels. So
If you needed to, you could just get a $5 5-gallon bucket and put it where all the sand refill things are, and they could drop their towel in there and, re-wet it.
yeah.
I personally carry a bottle of water and put it on my towel when I need it.
So
And Samantha, if we could make a request.
The recommendation is to take out the water on 7, 9, and 15. Is that correct?
And 17.
7.
And so 7, 9, and 15.
Where'd you get 7?
17.
7th tee.
17.
17 T.
Yeah, so the only one we're keeping is 5.
5, correct.
5, 13, and 16. Those are the only ones that will stay, plus the one at the front. And maybe that's the easier way to do it. These are the ones we're keeping.
Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. Is that a vote? All those in favor?
Well,
Against that?
Yeah, I'm for it.
And should we leave it to Jordan's discretion? If you touch it, you may have to go to a $5,000 fountain. If so, if we can just leave it, that's fine. But let's leave it to Jordan to research that and make a good decision. But
Okay.
otherwise, yes, let's vote.
Jordan, it looks to me, if you looked at this, it's $2,000 for a standard and $5,000 for one that fills water bottles. So my feeling is I get water out of the one at 15 by the bathrooms, up to 13 by the bathrooms, and it doesn't have a water thing for your container. You got to hold to the side to fill it up, but it fills up fine. Same as down by the clubhouse. So to spend an extra, $3,000 for one that fills water bottles seems to be excessive.
Yeah, it does, but just the way things are going right now with COVID, people are finding it's much safer and more sanitary to do the water fill station. That's really my only suggestion, and it's hard to know when we're going to be coming out of this. So at this moment, that's just why I'm leaning towards the bottle filling station. That's it, really.
I do want to say, you know, we don't, they're expensive. We did not budget for this type of expenditure. What we want to do is remove what we can right now, and then we'll replace when we have the available funding to do so.
I'm for doing it that way.
Yeah, this is not a high priority item.
No, it's not. We just wanted to get the ones that we could off if the committee was okay with it.
Good.
Okay, is that it? Communications. Anybody? Items from staff?
Hey, yeah, I've got a suggestion. Jordan, when can we kind of thin out the pines on the between 11 and 12? Actually, I know they're protecting the 12T, but we're going to lose them after the first heavy rain and wind right after that, because they're all top heavy now. And there's just tons of junk up in those trees, old leaves and stuff. I mean, if we just knock those out, it would help with the top heaviness.
Yeah, we got a lot of tree work. A lot of those pines are, yeah, as you said, getting top heavy. We got a number of them by number 7, between 7 and 8 as well. So, yeah, it's kind of beyond our capabilities in-house. So it's something we can definitely look at. We have a lot of stone pines to trim. So that's probably, as far as stone pines goes, that's probably the most important one, because it does provide protection from, you know, errant shots from number 11. So that would probably be a top priority for sure.
Just knocking the stuff, all the dead things out with a long stick will help a lot, because it is covered up in there.
Yeah. Again, yeah. Come wintertime, we'll start looking at that stuff. You know, right now it's just myself and 6 guys. So when the grass starts slowing down, we'll start looking at the trees. And yeah, this winter we're gonna have a very, very busy winter. Usually things slow down, but we're really far behind. So we'll start looking at that for sure.
Rod's Tree Service to do that?
Yeah, we usually do. I think we're kind of in between tree services right now. So
the plan will be, depending on the size of the project, if it can be done in-house, it would be done in-house, and then we would look to get to 3 bids. And any of rods would be included in that option to bid it.
No, we have a contract with Rod, don't we?
We do not for the golf course, no. They used to do work as needed, really regularly, but it was mostly as needed. So.
Oh.
And Dick, looking at the paper today, it looks like we're in a limbo period with tree services while they're waiting to determine the outcome of the bids.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. All right. What's next? Activity report.
Yeah, that's for the committee's review. If there's any questions, happy to answer any. But
well, it's down from last year. How do we attribute 18% down when the golf course is full?
We were closed for 3 months.
fewer rounds as well.
Okay.
Because of the tee times.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, when it was the great park.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Report from golf staff. Do you have anything, Jordan?
No, not a lot. I mean, we're out. Well, I hope we're out of the summertime stress. So we're coming into kind of shoulder season where we're able to do more things like verticut and kind of get prepared for the winter. We're doing things like edging greens, started root pruning around the greens, just so we can get like heavy equipment out there before the ground gets really saturated. So you'll be seeing a lot of that this winter or before the rains come. Yeah, not a lot really. We got 2 new Fairway units this week, so we're super excited about that. We're still kind of tinkering around with them with the height of cut and whatnot, but already our production level is way up and the quality cut is up. So moving into next spring, summer, we're going to see a vast improvement of the quality of turf in our fairways. So I'm really excited about that. So I'm glad we got those approved. So thank you, Samantha, for helping out with that. And yeah,
I
that's
saw
about it.
running the one today. He looked good on it.
Pardon me?
I saw Jose running the one unit this morning. He's looking good on it.
Yeah, he's excited. There's a lot of padding on it for him, so he likes that. And yeah, we're back ordered on the fence post for number 9 too. I keep for whatever reason they're having a hard time finding those lodge poles. They told me 2 weeks. They just phoned me today, so that's another area that we need to focus on kind of immediately.
How are we coming, Jordan, on mending the back of the range, that fencing? Get rid of the hole.
So we got the actual gate itself all fixed up, and it's something we can only do when the range is closed, just for safety reasons. And myself and Nick, the mechanic, we went at it, and we honestly underestimated the time it would take and the amount of zip ties it took. I think it was like 200 zip ties. So we ran out, and we'll have to go back when we're free on a Thursday morning. So to finish up the rest of it. So we're about half done with that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anything else for Jordan? I'd like to go back just to communications because I skipped over this, was on the side of my desk. I received an email from a guy named Jim Nahara, and he says, I'm interested in buying a golf scooter to ride rounds at the San Clemente Muni. I live in San Clemente, play 3 times a week, but I want to check if it's permissible with the city. The link below describes everything about the electric scooter and it's used in many golf courses around the country. What he has recommended is a scooter. I don't know if you can see it pretty well. Can you see it okay?
Yeah, I've seen them before. A bunch of companies make them.
This is a thin thing. So do you want to treat it as a golf cart? The tires look pretty docile, I guess is the word. It's not nubby or anything like that.
Well, if it's a golf company that makes it, they're going to make it to where it should be on the golf course. And if need be, we treat it like a private golf cart where you pay $200 for a registration fee and then an $8 trail fee.
Okay.
Dick, I've actually sent this to our risk manager for review. This is different and not a normal thing. So I've asked her to consult with our insurance company to see if it's something that we should be allowing on our course. So before the committee makes any type of decision, I'd like to get that feedback as well.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
Really good idea.
Yeah. I'll reply to the guy and just tell him that. I'll copy you, Samantha.
Yeah, and I'm happy to communicate back and forth with him as well.
Yeah, I mean,
The tires on that thing were a little narrow.
The
e-bikes are so popular right now. I could see people and seeing somebody out there on if it's a golf bike or not a golf bike, they're like, hey, maybe I'll take my e-bike out now.
There's the problem too of someone thinks it's it may look like a regular bike, but if a golf company made it, fine, but to some people they don't see that difference, so they think they can take their bike out there and ride around. I mean, we spend enough time trying to keep people's bikes off the golf course, and to let some people do it and some people not would be just a big can of worms to police.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, Dick, if I may, I want to give a quick update before you move into committee members.
Yeah.
I just want to let the committee know that staff are working with Dave Cook on extending his agreement with the city to operate the pro shop. We met Eric Sund and I met with Dave and Vinny this week. Really good meeting. We're happy that Dave wants to commit to us for some more time, which is a great thing. So we're working on the details of what that looks like, and we'll look to take something. The contract expires December 31st, but there shouldn't be anything major in that. Some of the things we've talked about and looked at is course marshaling, who that should live with. It's likely that we'll look to transition that potentially back to the city, where there's actually a lot of discussion about that many years ago. That something is favorable for Dave and Vinny, feel very comfortable with that. We had a little bit of an opportunity to pilot it as many of our pro shop staff became park rangers early on in COVID. So we saw it work, and I think there's some merit to having the pro shop staff be that friendly face of the golf course, and then course marshals certainly have to toe that harder line a little bit. So that's probably the biggest nugget to take away from our look at that. But if there's any pertinent updates, I will certainly share that with the committee, but do know we are handling that, and we're happy to keep Dave on board and Vinny as well.
I thought the contract was a year from December. Is this December?
It is, yes.
Oh, okay.
Give him a raise.
Yeah, he needs more money. He's worth it.
Yes, I'll take it. We'll take it.
All right. Next item on the agenda is reestablishment of subcommittees, Green Subcommittee and House Subcommittee. Just so you know, on the Green Subcommittee, it's always been Rick, Tim, and myself. But if somebody else would like to do it and take the notes and write the reports, I'd be glad to give up my spot.
No, you're too good. You're too valuable, Mr. Secretary.
How do you guys feel? Do anybody want to be on it? Parker, Darlin, Chris?
All you.
I think they're more
House
house.
committee. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll recommend Tim, Rick, and I do it, okay?
And they can do the house.
Who wants to be in the house? Who's on the house now?
Everybody but us.
Chris, yeah, Chris and Parker and me.
Okay, so everybody else is on the house. Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, committee member items. Anybody? Darlin, let's start with the top. Do you have anything?
No. I don't.
Okay, Rick?
No, I kind of shoved mine in there, and Jordan came through and answered them all.
Okay, Parker?
Yeah, I was curious if everybody's getting the blocks of tee times that they need. And by that, I'm referring to like the men's club and the ladies club tournaments and the tin whistle group. I know like for the men's club, people had to make their own tee times for the monthly tournaments. It seems goofy. Why is that restricted?
Vinny?
I can answer that.
And he's on break.
Ladies Club, they've got a little block of from 8 to 10, and that seems to be working pretty well. The tin whistle, we pretty much eliminated that, and we do have the men's club. They've got a little block of times, but they can actually make their own times before it, and that seems to be working okay. It'd be nice to give them a little bit more if they're getting very high demand. The Wednesday tournament, Saturday, and we really don't have the Friday tournaments going. So
the tin whistle group is abolished. I mean, I've never, honestly, I only played in it once. So I'm not personally that affected by it, but I thought that was a concern we had heard before.
Well, I think the tin whistle started years and years ago. They kind of have a blind draw, and they used to encourage them to go in the clubhouse, and the clubhouse has been closed. So I think I don't think you need to bring the tin whistle back. I mean, a few of the guys probably wouldn't like me to say that, but I think it's pretty fair. There's enough competitive times the way it's going. So
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Then the other thing I was curious about, if we're going to be allowing walk-ons again, or if we currently allow walk-ons, I guess.
Well, here's what we've been doing lately. We don't really encourage them, but if a guy's here and we get a late no-show, or if we're running a little bit ahead, we might work them in. But it's not like it used to be. But we don't really guarantee them, but we have guys, they'll wait a couple hours just for one spot. So, but I think with the, if you did the 9-minute intervals, you know, it'd be nice to maybe keep maybe 1 or 2 an hour or excuse me, 1 or 2 for a morning, you know. But a lot of people do like to walk on, you know, they're unplanned. They show up, and we're getting a lot of walk-ons on the back 9 now again. So that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Chris, do you have anything?
I did. Just one thing. As we're looking at hopefully increasing revenue a little bit for the club, we're also going to invest money back into the club. And I would ask that we bring back the conversation about rebuilding the putting green out in front of the shop. Recognize it's a very expensive item, but it's something that I think that would be very beneficial to everybody that plays. And not sure exactly what it would look like to have us put that back on the agenda and have conversation with the city to try to put that on the agenda for the coming year.
Great. That was my idea 3 years ago. Gus did not want to do anything, have anything to do with it. Jordan, you were a little bit more amenable. Are you still more amenable to do that?
Yeah, I mean, we can look at it just to see what the cost figure is. I know we went down that road with Gus, and I think the estimations were well into the 6 figures for a couple of square feet of turf.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we can really sit down and look what the numbers are and just remodeling. Yeah, I'm open to it. I can't, you know, commit to anything, but we can definitely see exactly how much it's going to take. Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I'm
Why
saying.
don't we look, and Jordan and I can work on getting some quotes and estimates for that. And then if it's feasible or based on what we see, we would look to incorporate it into the budget for fiscal year 21-22 with council approval, if that works for the group.
It is listed as our projects that we want to do. For the city asked us to do that. So I put it in, I guess you must have put it in too, Chris, because we had it listed in our projects besides doing the resolution. So.
I'm glad you brought it up, Chris, because my group today, 2 of them brought it up, and so we'll ask them, and I forgot. So.
Okay, anything else, Chris?
Nope, all set.
So I have one thing, I guess, for Jordan and Vinny and Samantha, is the buckets of sand on the carts to fill divots. Divots are becoming a problem on the golf course. We're getting to a point in time where the grass is not going to grow anymore. So it behooves us to really do something about the divots. Can we go back to a program where we have the buckets on the carts that are sanitized, and you know, we use them in our own cart type of thing? Or is it possible to go back to that, or is that something you guys can't handle?
Dick, if I can chime in before we get a response, and just say that I've played a number of different golf courses, all with sand bottles and filling in divots again. And I'm very comfortable, you know, refilling it 10 different times during the course of a round to fill in as many as possible. But I agree, it's getting pretty beat up, and we can fix it.
As for us, I mean, we can put it back on the golf carts, but I think it's more of a county touching thing.
Yeah,
And
let me check back with the county, and then I'll work with Vinny and Jordan to see what we can do. I hear you. That comes down to maintenance, so for sure.
And Nick's not here today, but you know, too bad we can't have a divot day. You know, sometime in the very near future. Is that possible, Vinny? You know, or Jordan?
I don't know how we get you out there if the course is filled.
Yeah.
Wear hard hats or something, and
yeah.
Maybe when the aerify in March.
I think that's
why
the
they
whole.
do it when they're, you know, knocking the greens down, when they're punching the greens. That's
up to Jordan and I are discussing a new. He's got a new plan of aerification, so that would be up to him. And of course, when they're aerifying, that would be more than welcome to have people sand divots. But he's working out a schedule of doing that.
Right.
Just keep it in mind, because the course is really, as Chris says, getting beaten up. So, okay, anybody have anything else? Wow. So I need a motion for adjournment.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Second, Chris, second. All's in favor?
Hi.
So we'll adjourn to
Aye.
the November, December, January, is it February meeting?
Yeah.
Is that correct? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
February 4th.
Thank you very much, Samantha, Miley, for being here, everybody, for being part of it.
Thanks, you guys.
Be
Aye.
on the course.
Thanks, everybody. See you.
Thanks.